All right, so we've got a huge stack of stuff here, all about Dimitri Rascalov. Articles, forum threads, even handwritten notes. Someone really wants to get to the bottom of this guy. And I get it, he's pretty central to the whole Liberty City thing, connected to Nico at the heart of GTA Way.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting about Dimitri? He really gets people going. Like, is he a mastermind, a backstabbing thug, some kind of ruthless survivor? He really makes you think about what it takes to succeed, especially as an immigrant.
I got to say, just based on what I've seen so far, the word that comes to mind is snake. I mean, betraying his so-called brother, manipulating everyone around him. I'm already getting frustrated.
That's what makes him so compelling. He's like the embodiment of that immigrant hustle, that drive to make it, even when the system's against you. Dimitri knew loyalty could be a weakness, especially in that world.
Hold on. Are you saying you admire this guy? We're talking arson, threats, murder. Yeah. How is any of that admirable?
Okay, so to understand Dimitri, we got to go back to his roots. Imagine Soviet Union, Cold War. He's in the army, ends up in a Siberian prison with Mikhail Faustin. That kind of shared experience, it creates a bond.
You mean a bond forged in crime? Sounds
Yeah.
like he was bad news from the start.
No, but they had a dream, right? Escape the Soviet Union, start fresh in America. They found a loophole in the U.S. immigration treaty and landed in Hove Beach, that Russian hub in Liberty City. This wasn't about riches, it was about opportunity, the American dream,
And they grabbed it, all right, by any means necessary. I'm getting some serious ends justify the means vibes here, and I'm not buying it.
Fair enough, but look at how they rose up. Faustin, totally volatile, fueled by paranoia, becomes this unpredictable mob boss. Dimitri, the cool head, the strategist, keeps him in check. He was the brains, I'd say.
He was enabling Faustin. And let's not forget, Dimitri was popping painkillers. Not exactly a clear mind, is it?
But it was effective. He knew how to play the game in Liberty City, made deals, built alliances, dealt with threats.
Dealt with threats is one way to put it.
Yeah.
You mean that peer meeting where he basically makes Nico kill Faustin. You betrayed his brother. How can you defend that?
Faustin was out of control, bringing too much heat. Dimitri was thinking long-term, positioning himself. And don't forget, he immediately aligns with Ray Bulgarin, a major player. Savvy move, if you ask me.
So betraying your friend is strategic, and Bulgarian, a known criminal, is a savvy choice. This guy's loyalty meter is broken. Strategic, savvy, all I see is broken promises and a lot of backstabbing. Like, he doesn't even get loyalty.
Come on, he was playing a high-stakes game, right? Loyalty gets you killed in Liberty City. He's an immigrant, an outsider. He had to be ruthless. That's the American dream. Got to fight for it.
So setting fire to Roma's place, leaving them with nothing, that's part of the fight. That's just cruel.
Those are calculated moves. Roman was a distraction, a weakness. He had to cut ties, Eliminate anything holding him back. Sentimentality doesn't win you empires.
He threatened Ashley, put a hit out on Johnny, all for money and power. And then there's Bryce Dawkins, the deputy mayor, blackmailing him, exploiting him for being gay. This isn't survival, it's just greed, no morals.
Look, he saw opportunities, he took them. Power comes from knowing how to use people's weaknesses, their addiction, their past, their secrets. It's not pretty, but it works. And let's be real, the people he went after, they weren't angels either. They knew the rules of the game.
So two wrongs make a right. Is that what you're saying? Because they were shady, it's okay. That's a dangerous argument.
I'm just saying, Dimitri was playing chess, not checkers, Always thinking ahead, anticipating threats, using people to get what he wanted. You gotta admire that strategic mind.
Strategic mind. He's a manipulator and a backstabber, plain and simple. And his brilliance put Nico in an impossible spot at the end of GTA Thievy, the deal with Pegorino. Revenge or a payout, it's lose-lose, all thanks to Dimitri.
See, that's the ultimate test. No matter what Nico chooses, Dimitri wins. Revenge. Eliminates a threat. Takes the deal. Dimitri betrays Pegorino and takes over. Total power play, like a real kingpin.
He leaves a trail of bodies, broken lives. How is that winning? Even Nico takes a deal. Dimitri's alone. Top dog, yeah, but surrounded by enemies he can't trust. It's a hollow victory.
But he achieved his goal, right? He's at the top. He understood. In that world, you dominate or you get dominated. He chose to dominate, and he did.
You're really trying to make this guy into a role model. He's a cautionary tale. Power corrupts.
He's a survivor. He's proof you can beat the odds, even when the system's rigged. He came from nothing, clawed his way to the top, willpower, determination. It's got to count for something, don't you think?
I think we have very different ideas of what's admirable. I see betrayal. I see someone who uses people and throws them away.
That's the price of power. You can't get to the top without making tough choices, without sacrifices. He did what others wouldn't do. That's what makes him different.
Okay, I'm done with this whole Dimitri's a role model thing.
Hmm.
He's dangerous, he's manipulative, and that's that.
And that's the beauty of this whole thing, right? Makes us think, makes us face these tough questions about ambition, about power, about what people will do to get what they want. His story, it's like a reflection of the world we live in, where success comes at a cost.
A cost that's way too high.
Mm.
He might have won the game, but what did he really have in the end? Nothing but emptiness.
Maybe. But it's inspiring too, right? Shows that we can all shape our own destiny, even when things are tough.
Maybe. But there are better ways to succeed than being a ruthless, backstabbing criminal. Ambition's one thing, but cruelty is another.
And that's the real question here, isn't it? Where's the line? What are we willing to give up for our dreams? What price are we willing to pay to win?
Questions we all got to answer, I guess.
Hmm.
But Dimitri's story definitely shows us that power, without morals, without empathy, can lead to some pretty dark places. So, here we are, picking through the pieces of Dimitri's life. And you see him as this success story, but I just see someone who threw everything away. Friends, loyalty, even basic decency, just to claw his way to the top.
But that's what's so interesting about it, right? This whole back and forth. Dimitri really makes you think about ambition and power and what we're willing to compromise to get ahead.
Honestly. It's more frustrating than interesting, I gotta say. It's like we're talking about two different people. You see some brilliant strategist. I see a backstabber who leaves a mess everywhere he goes.
But doesn't that say something about the immigrant experience? Having to adapt, seeing opportunity where others don't? Dimitri knew the world wasn't going to hand him anything. He had to take it.
Plenty of immigrants succeed without being brutal. Hard work, real relationships, that's how you build something, not through fear and betrayal.
Sure, there are different ways to do things. But Dimitri's story shows that sometimes you got to make hard choices. Unpopular ones, even. To get what you want. He played by his own rules, even if it meant breaking a few along the way.
And that's what gets me. He didn't just bend the rules, he smashed them. Everything was about him, and he didn't care who got hurt.
But look, he accomplished what he set out to do. He was a major player, made tons of money, had power. People were afraid of him.
Yeah, and he died alone. Hunted, feared. What's the point of all that if you lose your soul along the way?
At least he lived on his own terms, Made his own rules, answered to nobody. Isn't that what real freedom is?
You are unbelievable, you know that. I almost feel sorry for him. Got everything he wanted, but in the end, he had nothing.
Maybe. But his story, it can inspire us too. Shows us we can control our own destiny, even when things are hard.
Maybe. But there are better ways to find success. Dimitri's not the model here.
I wouldn't say I admire everything he did, but it's definitely a story that makes you think. About that entrepreneurial spirit. Pushing limits, defying expectations.
I think that's where we just disagree. I see someone who used people, betrayed them. You see some kind of hero.
Maybe we're both right. Maybe Dimitri's a mirror, showing us something about ourselves, about ambition and the things we're willing to do to reach our goals.
I think it's safe to say Dimitri's story is complicated. Hero, villain, a cautionary tale. A lot to think about, and I'm sure you listening out there have some thoughts on this.
And that's what we wanted to do here, right? Get people talking, make you question things, look at your own values.
So what does Dimitri's story mean to you? Was he just a product of his environment? Or did he make those choices, knowing what he was doing?
Think about the choices you make in your own life. The things you're willing to compromise, the lines you won't cross. That's what Dimitri makes us face.
And that's where we'll leave it for today. Dimitri might be fictional, but the questions he raises, those are real. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.